If you are listening to this and something inside you already feels heavy, confused, or strangely emotional, know that you are not broken and you are not weak. Because trauma bonding is not about love being too strong, it is about pain being mistaken for connection over time. Trauma bonding happens when emotional attachment is formed through cycles of intense closeness followed by emotional withdrawal, conflict, neglect, or harm, creating a loop where your nervous system becomes conditioned to seek relief from the very source of distress. This video is not here to tell you what to do, who to leave, or how fast to heal, but rather to help you recognize patterns that may finally explain why your heart feels stuck even when your mind understands the truth. Let's begin gently. Sign 1. You feel addicted to the person, not at peace with them. One of the clearest signs of trauma bonding is when your attachment feels less like calm love and more like an emotional addiction, where your mood, focus, and sense of stability rise and fall depending on how that person treats you. You may feel euphoric when they are kind, attentive, or apologetic, yet deeply anxious, panicked, or empty when they pull away, criticize you, or become distant, creating an emotional roller coaster that keeps your nervous system constantly activated. This isn't passion, it is your body seeking relief from stress that the relationship itself keeps creating. Sign 2. You make excuses for behavior that hurts you. You may find yourself constantly explaining away actions that deeply affect you, telling yourself that they didn't mean it, that they're just stressed, that they had a hard childhood, or that if you were more patient, understanding, or loving, things would finally change. Over time, your empathy becomes a cage where your pain is minimized while their behavior is endlessly justified, causing you to slowly disconnect from your own emotional needs. Sign 3. Leaving feels more painful than staying. Even when the relationship brings more confusion than comfort, the thought of leaving may trigger fear, panic, guilt, or a sense of emotional collapse, making staying feel like the safer option despite the ongoing harm. This happens because trauma bonds attach themselves to survival instincts, convincing you that separation equals danger, abandonment, or loss of identity, even when logic tells you otherwise. Sign 4. You confuse intensity with love. Trauma bonds thrive on emotional highs and lows, where conflict followed by reconciliation feels deeply bonding, making calm, stable relationships seem boring or unfamiliar. Your nervous system becomes used to chaos, so peace feels uncomfortable, and love without struggle feels undeserved or unreal. Sign 5. You feel responsible for their emotions. You may feel like it is your job to regulate their moods, prevent their anger, manage their stress, or keep the relationship afloat, even at the expense of your own mental and emotional well-being. This creates an imbalance where your needs shrink while theirs take center stage, reinforcing the bond through emotional labor and self-sacrifice. Sign 6. You hold on to who they could be, not who they are. Trauma bonding often keeps you emotionally attached to potential rather than reality, where memories of who they were at the beginning or who they promised to become outweigh the consistent patterns of behavior you are currently experiencing. Hope becomes the glue that keeps you stuck. Sign 7. You feel disconnected from yourself. Over time, trauma bonds can slowly erode your sense of self, leaving you unsure of what you want, what you feel, or what boundaries even look like anymore. Your inner voice becomes quieter, while their presence takes up more emotional space in your mind. Sign 8. You experience withdrawal when there is distance. When contact is reduced, you may feel physical symptoms like restlessness, anxiety, chest tightness, racing thoughts, or emotional numbness, similar to withdrawal. Because your nervous system has become accustomed to the cycle, this reinforces the illusion that the bond is necessary for emotional survival. Sign 9. You blame yourself for the problems. Instead of holding the relationship accountable, you turn inward, believing that if you were better, calmer, less sensitive, or more loving, everything would finally work. Self-blame keeps the bond alive by protecting the connection at the cost of your self-worth. Sign 10. You feel stuck in a loop you can't explain. Trauma bonding feels like knowing the truth but being unable to act on it. Like watching yourself repeat patterns you swore you wouldn't return to, all while feeling ashamed for not being strong enough to walk away. But this is not weakness, this is conditioning. Healing from trauma bonding begins with awareness, not force, and recognizing these patterns does not mean you have failed. It does not mean you are weak. And it does not mean something is wrong with you. It means you are becoming conscious of what your nervous system learned in order to survive. And that awareness alone is already a powerful shift taking place within you. If you see yourself in these signs, allow yourself to pause rather than panic, because clarity does not arrive as a sudden breaking point. It arrives quietly, often in moments where something no longer feels the way it used to, where the chaos stops feeling exciting and starts feeling exhausting, and where your body begins asking for rest instead of intensity. Trauma bonds form in environments where love and pain are intertwined, where unpredictability trained you to stay alert, where emotional highs felt like connection, and where consistency may have felt unfamiliar or even unsafe. So unlearning that conditioning is not about erasing your past, but about teaching your nervous system that safety no longer has to be earned through suffering. You are not required to leave, confront, fix, or decide anything today in order for healing to begin, because healing does not start with action. It starts with understanding, and understanding starts with compassion for the version of you that adapted in the only way it knew how. The bond begins to loosen not when you force yourself to stop caring, but when safety slowly replaces chaos, when peace becomes more familiar than emotional intensity, and when your sense of self no longer depends on someone else's approval, validation, or unpredictability to feel real. Rebuilding self-trust is not dramatic or fast. It happens in small moments, like honoring your discomfort instead of dismissing it, choosing rest instead of over-explaining, listening to your body when it asks for space, and allowing yourself to sit with emotions without immediately trying to fix or suppress them. There may be moments when you miss the intensity, when your mind romanticizes what hurt you, when familiarity pulls at you even after clarity arrives. And this does not mean you are going backward. It simply means your nervous system is learning a new language, one where calm is not mistaken for boredom and stability is not mistaken for emptiness. You are allowed to move slowly through this process, because rushing healing often recreates the same pressure that caused the bond in the first place. And true recovery asks for patience, gentleness, and permission to be human while you unlearn what once kept you safe. There is no deadline for becoming whole, no timeline you must follow, and no version of healing that requires perfection, strength at all times, or emotional certainty, because growth is not linear and awareness unfolds in layers, each one revealing a little more truth at a pace your nervous system can tolerate. As you begin to redirect compassion inward instead of constantly extending it outward, you may notice guilt arise, discomfort surface, or old beliefs question whether you are being selfish. But choosing yourself is not abandonment, it is alignment, and caring for your well-being is not a betrayal of anyone else. You are not responsible for carrying emotional weight that was never yours to hold, and you do not have to sacrifice your peace in order to prove your loyalty, love, or worthiness of connection. Healing does not require you to rewrite your entire story overnight. It simply invites you to notice what your body responds to now, what drains you, what nourishes you, and what feels grounded rather than consuming. Some days, awareness will feel empowering, and other days it may feel heavy, confusing, or lonely, and both experiences are part of the same journey. Because awakening often comes with grief for what you tolerated, what you normalized, and what you believed love had to look like. Be gentle with that grief, because it is not regret, it is recognition, and recognition is a sign of growth, not weakness. You are allowed to redefine love as something that feels steady, respectful, and emotionally safe, even if that definition feels unfamiliar at first. And you are allowed to choose relationships that do not require you to abandon yourself in order to stay connected. The fact that you are here, listening, reflecting, and questioning patterns that once felt automatic, is evidence that healing is already unfolding. even if it does not yet look the way you imagined. Awareness is not the end of the journey, but it is the first release, the moment where the bond loosens its grip just enough for space to enter, for choice to return, and for self-trust to begin rebuilding quietly, steadily, and in your own time. And that is enough for today.